Hi, well, I'm Larry Suffredin. I'm a Cook County Commissioner who represents the north end of the city of Chicago and the northern suburbs. I've been on the county board for 19 years. County government is stealth government. Nobody knows exactly what we do, but we do run the largest court system in the nation. We have one of the largest hospital systems in any public body in the United States. We have forest preserve districts, and so we run the things that are the mortar that make life good, but the things that you don't think of first. Housing, as I said before, is one of the most important things that anybody can have, and having that housing be, one, accessible, and two, be clean and safe are things that I think my time on the county board we've been able to pass ordinances and to have enforcement of rights that people have, and making sure that our courts are hearing the advocacy of the tenant or the owner of a property. So I think those are the things I'm most interested in and most proud of.
My name is Willie, and I am from the Chatham neighborhood, Chicago South Side, by way of Robert Taylor Homes, also on the South Side. When they made the decision to bring those buildings down, I had moved out by that time. My mother and sister and brother were still there. They had to find housing, and they went first to the east side, far away, and then they ended up in Inglewood. And one day after work, I met my sister downtown and followed her home to see the new place where they were living. And that time she had a little girl about 2-3 years old. And we had to walk for blocks to their apartment. It wasn't accessible, just quickly off the bus and you're at the doorstop. And walking through the neighborhood, it was empty lots and burned out buildings, and the building that they were in wasn't in the best condition. They lived in a basement apartment, and I just felt really bad that my new niece was going to have to grow up there. And so I went home and I prayed, Lord, bless me so that I can be a blessing to them. And one day, I don't know why, but I was on the King Drive bus, and I passed by this house, and I looked up, and its sign said $2,000 down, and I'm like, oh. I got off the bus at the next stop, walked back, took the information down, called the gentleman, and the rest is history. My mother finished her days in a safe place where she didn't have to walk up a lot of stairs, and my niece a block away, Ruggles Elementary School, and my sister bus stop right outside the door practically. So I felt relieved. It's what we need, to feel like you're part of a community that you're proud of and that you want to stay in, where you could raise your family in a safe environment. So that's what I hope for Chatham, that it is a place for people to come to and feel welcome and to grow old in.
Advocacy is one of the most important things that we can have for any person. And what we have in the legal aid community in Chicago is one of the strongest advocacy groups. They educate people on issues, they advocate for specific solutions to problems, and they solve those problems. The other thing is, in our court system, if we don't have legal aid lawyers in the courtroom, people are there pro se, and they're going up against professionally trained lawyers, and that's not a level playing field. What legal aid does is, in any form, and especially for the disabled and the elderly, it levels the playing field and making sure that our courts are hearing the advocacy of the tenant or the owner of a property. The lawyers came to us with an issue of many people, because of COVID and being isolated, not having an easy way to transfer their property, especially for those who were at the end of their lifespan. So we looked at the backlog that was happening in the recorder's office, realizing that the law required for the transfer to be effective, that it be recorded. And so we did two things, but one, we got a speed up of those cases that had been filed but not actually recorded. And secondly, we figured out how to reduce the fee to make it easier for people to be able to respond. The idea being that by doing that, we would increase the number of people who could take advantage of this simpler way of transferring their property and having their intent followed after they've left us.
I had realized neighbors, as they grew older around me, the parents, they had not put in place information for their children to maintain their homes. And I heard stories as the elders passed on, the children, they think they have a home, but the parents had not put their names on their deeds. And so I didn't want to be in that situation. At that time, my sister was still living, and I thought, well, we're cool. But then when she died, it came back to me, no, I need to make sure that things are in order, that my niece who grew up in here, in this house, she can return if she chooses to. And having CDEL there explaining to me what steps needed to be done to get that transfer on death document in place and the names on the deed, and knowing that it was a manageable price, it was unbelievable. It was a godsend, another answer to a prayer. And the fact that you were there even during the pandemic, answering the phones and responding, that's just amazing to me.
Not only the disabled community, but the elderly community continues to need advocacy. Never stop advocating, never stop educating people on the issues that you see that are important, and don't accept anybody to say no or not right now. Always demand what's necessary today, because we lose people if we just say, well, we'll do that next year. We need to have the kind of advocacy this group has done. Impact is a great word for this award, and the impact of all of you is your advocacy and your education of our overall community. And we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go.